The Adventures of Ellery Queen. Tonight, bring you another thrilling adventure with Ellery Queen, the celebrated gentleman detective in person. Ellery Queen invites you to match wits with him as he relates another story of a crime he alone unraveled. Before revealing the solution, he stops the play, gives you a chance to solve the mystery. Our guest armchair detectives for this evening are Miss Sonia Bigman, contributing editor of Time magazine, and Edward Pauley, who plays Steve Wilson on the famous radio program Big Town. And now, Ellery Queen, master detective, and your host for the next half hour.
Thank you, Ernest Chappell, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's case will really test your mettle as an armchair detective, because I can assure you it had us thinking hard. It's about a man who could disappear almost at will. I call it The Adventure of a Vanishing Magician. Mamie Dover. What's the matter?
There you are, Mr. Forsythe. Oh, dear, my dinner will be ruined if that husband of mine doesn't get home soon. You'd think after 20 years of married life, a man would get to know that spare ribs get dry.
You were crying, Mamie, and it wasn't about Hal or the spare ribs.
Now, you go back in the parlor, Forsythe, and read your variety and billboard while I see if I can't save my dinner.
You were crying about the house, weren't you, Mamie?
Yes.
Well, we haven't lost the old shack yet, Mamie. Now stop crying. Think of the good old days.
Oh, the good old days. What for? We'll never see him again.
Oh, don't you believe it. Vaudeville's coming back. Yes, sir. Before you know it, you'll be right back in the old five-a-day again. Hal and Mamie Dover, songs and patter.
Maybe vaudeville's coming back, Forsythe, but Hal and me won't come back with it. Nor you, nor Avanti. The great Avanti, magician supreme. Gilbert Forsythe, quick change artist. Oh, it's old stuff, passé. They'd laugh us off.
Yeah? Well, I'm as good as I ever was. I've kept in practice, Mame. I haven't let the hinges on my theatrical trunk upstairs get rusty. No, sir. Remember that quick change act I had, Riley of the New York Finest, where I played all 7 parts? Why, it laid 'em in the aisle.
It was corny, Forsythe. Hal and me were corny. Avanti and his magic was corny. We're through, and you know it.
Through, am I? I'll show you all, and especially that sarcastic booker who threw me out of his office yesterday.
Oh, what's the use? You knew we were through when you, Avanti, Hal, and me pooled our savings 13 years ago to buy this house.
Yeah, you're right, Mame. We thought we'd have at least a roof over our heads. Now...
Oh, there's the front door. Hal?
Me, Mame.
Hal, I thought you'd never get home.
Home? Oh, evening, Forsythe.
Hal, did you see that pagan at the bank?
I saw him.
What'd he say, Hal?
He busted a gut laughing.
Oh, Hal.
Shall we lose the house? Is that it?
Next week, unless the U.S. Marines save us in the nick of time.
But, Hal, what'll we all do? Where'll we go?
Search me. Oh, Mame, stop crying. Huh?
Dover, I told you we did wrong when we mortgaged that house 5 years ago.
And what were we supposed to eat, Forsythe? Your 1929 billboard clippings?
Hal, Dover, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
Well, now, next week is next week. Right now, we have a dinner to eat. Though heaven knows, Hal Dover, you've done your darndest to spoil it. Now, sit down, both of you.
I ain't hungry, Mame.
You're going to eat, mister, and we're not going to wait for the great Avanti. I'll have the ribs out in a jiffy if they ain't dry as dust.
I guess I'm jumpy, Forsythe.
Yeah, it's my fault, Hal. It's losing the house and all the money we put into it.
Going back to a furnished room. Avanti?
Hello, Maggie. Al, Forsythe. Where are you, my friend?
In the dining room, Avanti.
I am late, now.
A long faces. No luck today, Hal.
Sit down and eat your soup, Avanti.
Avanti?
Yes.
Oh, it's about time. Now hurry with your soup.
Attention. The great Avanti is about to give a performance.
What's he so gay about?
Cut the clowning, Avanti. I ain't in the mood.
No, and I shall put you in the mood. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention, please. Observe. There is nothing up my sleeve.
Cut it out, I said.
Hal.
Hell's on edge, Avanti.
Oh, who wouldn't be losing the house?
And who says we are losing the house, huh?
The bank that's holding the mortgage, you punchy dope.
Avanti says it is not so.
What?
Your faces light up, eh? My friends, I have it all fixed.
Avanti, we won't lose our house.
No, Mamie. And what is more, we shall have enough dough to last us a long, long time.
You're crazy with the cold.
That's something crooked. No, it is not something crooked, Forsyth.
But, Vandy, you ain't serious. How can you save the house?
Follow my instructions and have faith.
What do we have to do with Avanti?
Merely, when the proper time comes, to get out of the house for one evening, leaving it unoccupied. That is all.
What are you going to do, burn it down?
Even that wouldn't do any good. Our fire insurance lapsed.
Now, you two stop. Avanti,
Yes?
you want us to leave the house for one evening, and that'll save it?
Yes, Mamie.
I suppose you'll do it by magic, Vandy.
Yes, Mr. Dover. By magic.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the beginning of our mystery. We'll be back in just a moment to tell you more.
And now back to our story. It's 2 mornings later, the scene, Inspector Queen's office at police headquarters.
There's the maestro and Miss Porter, Inspector.
Hi, Petey. Come in, you two. Very call to headquarters, Dad, means a case.
Is it a case, Inspector?
It's a case, Nicky, but blessed if I know what kind. Ellery, shake hands with Mr. Avanti, Mr. Steele. My son Ellery, Secretary Miss Porter.
How do you do?
Hello.
This really isn't a matter for the police, son.
The inspector and me thought it was a lot more in your line, Maestro. Screwball stuff.
Sounds interesting, Sergeant.
First, I'd better explain, son, that Mr. Steele here is a very wealthy businessman with a peculiar hobby.
I thought I recognized you, Mr. Steele. I have read an article about you in a magazine recently with your photograph.
That's me, Miss Porter.
Your hobby's collecting magic tricks, isn't it?
Yes, indeedy. I'm an amateur expert in magic. Know more about magic than these fellows know themselves. Hey, Vandy?
Mr. Steele, you are the boogeyman of my unfortunate profession.
Mr. Steele's a shower-upper, Maestro. These guys make up magic tricks. He figures them out.
I see.
For years, Mr. Steele's had a standing offer of $25,000 to any professional magician who can show him a magic trick he can't solve in 24 hours.
Wonderful. You're sort of magic detective, eh, Mr. Steele?
Yes, sir. The best of them have tried to collect that $25,000. No one's collected it yet.
Mr. Steele's seen through every magic illusion ever invented, Ellery.
Mr. Steele will not see through mine.
You see, Vandy's taken up Mr. Steele's challenge.
He claims he can pull a trick that'll fool even Mr. Steele.
Oh, swell. What's your illusion, Mr. Vandy?
I shall disappear in thin air.
Oh,
But that's not new, Mr. Avanti. Houdini made an elephant disappear in full view of a theater audience.
I saw the old master do it myself. All disappearance illusions are done with mirrors and apparatus. You won't fool me with one of those moth-eaten tricks, Vandy.
But, Mr. Steele, I do not use mirrors or apparatus.
Huh? Well, Vandy, I'll hold you to that.
No apparatus, Mr. Avanti? Wow. But may I ask why you've come to the police?
It's going to be a case for the Missing Persons Bureau, ain't it?
I wish Mr. Steele to be completely satisfied about the conditions under which my illusion takes place.
You see, Ellery, Vandy and some old-time vaudeville friends of his jointly own a 2-story brownstone in Chelsea that's in danger of foreclosure.
It's one of them old babies, Maestro, in a solid block of attached houses, all alike.
All alike.
and Mr. Avanti wants to win Mr. Steele's money to save the house? Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Steele, but from now on, I'm on Mr. Avanti's side.
The more the merrier, Miss Porter. Disappear into thin air without mirrors or apparatus?
Mr. Avanti, just how do you intend using the house in this magic illusion of yours?
First, Mr. Queen, I wish the house to be examined from basement to roof, inside and out, to satisfy Mr. Steele that there are no sliding panels, hidden passages, tunnels, or secret hiding places anywhere inside.
There goes my solution.
Secondly, Inspector Queen may station police as guards at each exit from the house to see that I do not escape. As many men as you please, Inspector. On the roof, in the basement, the backyard, at the doors and windows. In fact, I shall be insulted if you do not put a veritable human cordon around the house.
You're sure making it impossible for yourself, Vandy.
That is the essence of the illusion. Finally, I shall enter, alone, in full view of all of you. And you will not find me in the house when you look. I shall have vanished. And then, Mr. Steele, you have 24 hours to solve the problem of my disappearance, or pay me $25,000.
You're crazy, Vandy, but by George, you're on. When will you be ready?
Tonight.
Well, you gentlemen will have to count me out. I can't touch it. No crime involved.
Inspector, please make an exception.
Excuse us a moment, gentlemen.
Yes,
Very
well,
well, Dad, cooperate with Avante.
But I've no authority, son, in a thing like
Oh,
this.
you can find the authority, Inspector. It means so much to Mr. Van.
The guy's a nutter, a publicity
He's
hound.
neither. He's doing it for that little group of X5-a-dayers, Sergeant. They need that $25,000 to save their house.
That's all very true.
Be a sport, Dad. Play along with Avante as a favor to me.
Well, what'll the big chief say? And he talks 3 languages.
Inspector, please.
Well, blast it. All right.
Thanks, Dad. Mr. Avante, Mr. Steele.
Okay, Queen.
I ought to have my head examined, but... Okay, gentlemen.
Oh, good.
Fine. Vandy, get ready to dissipate in that house of yours. Tonight at 9.
Do you really think Avanti's going to be able to pull this off, Hal?
I don't know, Mame. I'm hoping.
That man Steele must be as crazy as a Vandy. Without apparatus, impossible. Why, when I headed the bill at the New York Palace back in 27...
Yes, we know, Forsyth. You laid them in the aisles, eh? Mamie, smile. The house is as good as ours again.
Oh, Avanti, please don't miss.
Vandy, well, good luck.
Vandy, I'm not against you. Well, it's just that, well, people get so darn bitter.
I understand. And I will not fail you.
Come on, you people. You're not supposed to be here, Mr. and Mrs. Dover, Mr. Forsyth.
Now, according to the agreement, you folks wait in that corner cafeteria till this is over.
And don't worry, Mrs. Dover. I have a hunch Mr. Vandy's really going to do it.
Oh, I hope so, Miss Porter. Come on, Hal. And Mr. Forsyth, we'll get them close.
Avanti will bring the bacon to the house. Now, are you gentlemen all satisfied?
Yes, Mr. Avante.
And where is Mr. Steele?
Here I am. Are you ready, Vandy?
If you are Mr. Steele?
Hold it a minute. Billy,
Yeah, Inspector.
hurry up before the reporters get wind of this.
Everything set, Sergeant?
Yes, sir, myself.
Mr. Steele, are you satisfied that there are no secret passageways or hiding places in the house?
Well, it's true. I searched it myself. Okay, Mr. Steele. I had a department expert look the house over from top to bottom. He says there's no way out of the house except through the regular doors and windows and the roof and cellar.
I'll testify to that, Mr. Steele. I look myself.
Is the house completely empty now, Sergeant?
Well, no, I met one cockroach in there. He kissed me. He was so glad to see somebody.
That was good for a laugh, but Tony passed us. Come on, Billy. How about the police detail?
Okay, Inspector. The whole place is surrounded. I've even got 8 cops on the roof watching the roof door. Don't worry, Inspector. He won't get out.
Okay, Billy. Mr. Vandy, go to it.
I shall, Inspector. Now you gentlemen will please allow me exactly 2 hours inside the house. At the stroke of 11, enter. And try to find me.
Billy, escort Vandy up this stoop and see that he enters the house.
Up to the daisy, magician. Right of your fate.
Best of luck, Mr. Avante.
And I hope we'll not be seeing you.
Hey, you'll see him, Miss Porter. Don't worry.
In you go, Vandy.
Arrivederci. Until later.
Watch closely, Mr. Steele. We don't want you saying afterwards he didn't go in.
I'm satisfied. He went in. Keep that back of yours against the front door up there, Sergeant.
You'll have to ooze out of a crack to get by me, Maestro.
Well, now for a 2-hour wait. Might as well sit down here beside me on this bottom step, Mr. Steele.
With pleasure, my dear. If Avante gets out of this house now, he is a magician.
Well, I thought this would be exciting. All I've got out of it so far is a bad case of yawns.
Isn't the time nearly up, Ellery?
Yes, Dad. 1 minute to 11. 2 hours. He'd need 2 centuries.
Don't laugh yet, Mr. Steele. Oh, here's Sergeant Bealey back.
Billy, shake a leg up this stoop. What do the men report?
You've made the round of the police on guard, Sergeant?
Yeah, Mr. Steele. They all say the same thing. Vandy didn't come out.
How about the roof, Dad?
You men up there in the roof.
Yes, Inspector.
Everything under control up there, officer?
Vandy ain't come out of the house this way, Inspector. It was. Hey, Inspector, what's this start over? We're dying from the excitement.
It's exactly 11 o'clock. Let's go in and see.
Yes, let's get it over with. Well, open the door, Billy.
Okay.
Wait, Sergeant. I see it now, by George. The tricky devil. Simple as ABC, too. What simple as ABC, Mr. Steele? Look, Queen. Avante built up the psychology of his audience, in this case us, by making us wait out here for 2 whole hours. Of course he's still in there.
But he's hiding in the hall somewhere, and he's waiting for us to come in.
So that we'll impatiently rush upstairs?
Exactly. Then he'll simply sneak out of the house through this front door we'll have left unguarded.
Of course, that may be Avanti's plan, Mr. Steele, but somehow...
Whatever it is, it won't work. Beanie, stay on guard at this front door while we go in. Don't move a step from this door.
Is that what I get after waiting 2 hours? Okay.
Ellery, for goodness sake, open that door.
Here we go.
Avanti! I don't see Midland the boy down here. No place for him to hide.
It's awfully quiet, isn't it? Mr. Avanti! Oh, dear. Well, Inspector, where did Ellery and Mr. Steele go? Don't tell me they disappeared, too.
They're searching the downstairs rooms, Nicky.
Here I am, Dad.
He's not down here. Oh, Mr. Steele, any luck?
No, he must be upstairs. Avanti, come down out of there.
Let's go upstairs, too.
Right, Dad.
If he's really disappeared, it's the most marvelous thing I ever heard of. Oh, Mr. Steele, what...
He's not in that bedroom. Avanti. Queen, try that room.
Right, Steele. Oh, that's empty. I'll try this one. Looks like a study. Not in this one either. Dad, did you look at the stairs leading to the roof trap door?
Not hiding there, Ellery. Well, Mr. Steele, it looks as if...
No. There's one door we missed. This one.
Oh, yes. That's the door to Avanti's own room.
And this is where he is. Game's up, Avanti. We've caught you. Confound it, Avanti. Open this door and stop making a ridiculous fool of yourself.
You might try the door, Mr. Steele. It may not be locked, you know. No, it isn't.
He isn't here. This is the last room.
But it's not possible. Wait. That clothes closet. He's hiding in this clothes closet.
It's empty.
By thunder, he did it.
But he can't have.
Mr. Steele, you might be interested in this note I just found on Avanti's bed.
A note?
Let me see it, too, Ellery.
What did the little whiz write, son?
Gentlemen, you may search this house until doomsday, but you will not find me for the simple reason that I am not here. Mr. Steele, you have 24 hours to figure out how I vanished into thin air, or failing, pay me $25,000.
Signed, the Great Avanti.
Listen, Mr. Steele, how many times do I have to tell you? Vandy didn't sneak past me at the front door.
But he did it some way. He got out some way.
This is getting monotonous.
You still have 5 minutes of your 24 hours left, Mr. Steele.
He didn't get out. He's still in the house.
Where, Mr. Steele? You practically picked the house to pieces in the past 23 hours and 55 minutes.
Inspector, you're sure the police are still on guard outside? They mustn't leave their post yet. Do you hear me?
I don't know why I take this from you, Mr. Steele. But my men haven't left their post since they came on duty last night.
Then where is he? I can't understand it. Not a single clue, not one.
I disagree, Mr. Steele.
You what, Queen?
It's really a very simple problem.
Don't tell me. Maestro.
Yes, Sergeant. I know how Avanti did it.
Queen, tell me how. Quick, before my time's up.
Ellery Queen, don't you dare. He's supposed to figure it out for himself.
You heard the voice of the people, Mr. Steele.
I'll give you $5,000 if you'll tell me how Avanti performed this trick, Queen.
Chin horn.
Make it 10, Mr. Queen. 10,000.
You're a chiseler, Mr. Steele.
Sergeant, open the front door. We'll wait for Avanti on the stoop.
Well played.
I'll make it 15, Queen. Hurry.
Mr. Steele, I'm beginning to dislike you.
You want to chisel these people out of their home. When you've lost a bet you yourself made.
It's not that. It's my reputation.
Time's up. He's lost.
Oh.
Yes, you've lost, Mr. Steele. Our 4 ex-vaudeville friends of one.
I want to
And here comes the great Avanti strolling up the street. And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the mystery. While you try to puzzle out just how Avanti disappeared, suppose we see how our guests are making out. Nikki, will you introduce our guest armchair detectives for this evening, please?
All right, Ellery. Our first guest tonight is Miss Sonia Bigman, contributing editor for theater and radio on one of the nation's most important and widely read publications, Time magazine. Miss Bigman is an avid mystery story fan, and as such, we heartily welcome her as guest armchair detective tonight. Our second guest is a man who, like yourself, Ellery, is tough on criminals. He's Edward Pauley, who plays the part of Steve Wilson on the famous radio program Big Town. Big Town is the inside story of a big metropolitan newspaper, the Illustrated Press. Each Tuesday evening, Steve Wilson, as managing editor, with the beautiful Lorelei and ace photographer Dusty Miller, give radio one of its most exciting programs. Ellery?
Thank you, Nikki. Miss Bigman, how do you think the great Avante disappeared?
Well, I can only think because I'm not guessing it at all. The only thought that I can tie up this thing is when Mr. and Mrs. Forsythe, or Hal and Mamie Dover were talking about the great Avante, they said he had once played all 7 parts in something called Rally of the New York Finest.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably got himself dressed up as a policeman and walked in and out all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Without being seen? Well, he just joined the cops or something like that. The only other thing is, the only other clue might be that all the houses look alike.
Thank you, Miss Bigman. And now, Mr. Pauly, how do you think the great Avante disappeared?
Well, Ellery, I'm managing editor and the detective. Not much good without his staff. Now, if I could have Lorelei and Dusty Miller and Fletch to help me out, I sound like an expert. Well, I just have to take a flyer and say that I'll string along with Miss Bigman on her solution. As a matter of fact, I actually have some mental notes here in that direction. They follow pretty closely what she did. In other words, my mind goes back to the fact that there was a quick change artist involved, and I think that, like a lot of the actual function of these disappearing tricks is it happens before we actually think it, or expecting it to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Pauly and Miss Bigman. We're going to tell you the correct solution to tonight's mystery in a moment.
All right, Mr. Steele. Cough up. Now, Mandy, here's my check for $25,000. And I still can't believe you did it.
My friends and I thank you, Mr. Steele.
But you've got to tell me how you did it. I've just paid a lot of money for not knowing.
Yes, I think we ought to tell Mr. Steele, Mr. Avante?
You solved my illusion, Mr. Queen.
Oh, he always solves everything, Mr. Vandy. Ellery, please.
I tell you, if you don't, I won't sleep tonight.
All right, Lily. Well, our magician went into the house. 2 hours later, we searched it, and he was gone. Vanished, as he claimed, in thin air. Yet the reports from the policemen on guard at every exit from the house were that Mr. Avante had not left.
But he did leave, Ellery. That's a fact.
Yes, sir. Consequently, when your policeman said he hadn't left, they only thought he hadn't. He had.
You mean Mr. Avante got out of the house under the eyes of grown policemen without their knowing it?
It's the only possible explanation, Nicky.
But how?
Well, what was the situation? A house surrounded by police, men in uniform, a couple of dozen of them. Take the roof. 8 uniformed police on guard. Let's consider those 8 policemen. Each officer, wherever he turned, saw another officer, another blue coat. The police uniform is a great leveler of personality. And besides, Mr. Avante cleverly sets the time of the illusion at night when visibility is poor. And because the roof held the largest congregation of police, I say Mr. Avante got away by the roof, disguised in a police uniform.
Oh, sure. What a fool. What a fool.
Confirmation, yes. Mr. Avante asked for 2 hours when obviously a few minutes would have sufficed. Why did he ask for 2 hours? Because he's a student of human nature, like all magicians. He knew that in 2 hours the watching police would be bored, that their vigilance would relax, that they'd start trudging around the roof to keep warm, smoking, chattering, milling about. So that Avante, watching from inside the roof flap door, merely had to wait for a single instant when none of the 8 pairs of eyes was on the roof door, and in that instant slipped noiselessly out onto the roof in a policeman's uniform. And there he was, on the roof at night, just another officer of the law. He might have done the same thing, not disguised. But he knew he'd never be able to get off the roof once he slipped out of the trap door without being spotted. Dressed as a policeman, however, all he had to do from that moment on was saunter quietly about among the 8 real policemen, minding his own business, until he saw a chance to slip on to an adjoining roof. Remember, this is an attached house, and make his escape from some house farther down the street.
He may just make the trick possible by insisting on a big police guard.
But where did Mr. Avante get the policeman's uniform, Ellery?
There was even a clue to that. We've all been told that Mr. Forsythe, the quick change artist, lives in the house and his old theatrical trunk is in his room. And what was the sketch Forsythe used to do in the glamour days of vaudeville? He used to play all 7 parts in a skit called Riley of the New York Finest. So in Forsythe's trunk, there must have been a New York policeman's uniform. Mr. Avante, I should like to shake the hand of an artist.
No, Mr. Queen. The honor is mine. Believe me, Mr. Queen, I am so happy it wasn't you I challenged. to solve my illusion of the vanishing magician.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the solution to the mystery. I want to thank Miss Bigman and Mr. Pauly for appearing as guest armchair detectives this evening. We want especially to compliment both of them for their skill in solving the crime. We have for both Miss Bigman and Mr. Pauly a personal gift, also an autographed copy of my latest mystery anthology, The Female of the Species, and a subscription to Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine.
And now, Ellery, suppose you tell us about next week's case, huh?
Sure, Chappie. Well, ladies and gentlemen, next week, a young lady offers me $5,000 to get back the stolen sum of $3. I can't tell you more. I'd tell you too much. So I'll just caution you to get your thinking caps all shined up next Saturday for the adventure of the $3 robbery.
Music for The Adventures of Ellery Queen is by Charles Paul. This program came to you from New York. This is the National Broadcasting Company.